Have you ever felt like you're being tested in your faith? Maybe you're going through a difficult time and questioning why Yah would allow it to happen. Or maybe you're feeling like your prayers aren't being answered and you're beginning to lose hope. Whatever your situation may be, it's important to remember that testing of our faith is a common experience, especially for those of us who are trying to walk in the Most High's truth. The testing of faith is all about you trusting in Yahuwah and relying on Him rather than yourself or anyone else. If you rely on Him in the midst of your testing, He will help you. Testing of faith is not something to be afraid of, as Elohim will give you all that you need to stand firm. Let's take a look at James chapter 1, verses 1 through 12. And it reads, James, a servant of Elohim, and of the Master Yeshua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith work patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of Elohim, that giveth all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that waver is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Master. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted, but the rich in that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass he shall pass away. For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, but it withereth the grass, and the flower thereof falleth, and the grace of the fashion of it perish. So also shall the rich man fade away in his ways. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Master had promised to them that love him. When you're being tested and you're going through trials and tribulations, let your faith not be wavered, and do not be double-minded. Although many people claim to have faith in Yahuwah, when the test comes and their faith is tried, they tend to waver their faith like a wave of the sea driven by the wind. We're going to be taking a look at the parable that Yahushua gave of the sower, in which highlights the 4 different responses that people have to biblical truth as it pertains to their faith when they're being tested. In Yahushua's parable of the sower, he identifies the ones who fall away as those who receive the seed of Yah's word with joy, but as soon as a time of testing comes along, they fall away. James says that the testing of our faith develops perseverance, which leads to the maturity in our walk with Yah. The parable of the sower concerns a sower who scatters seeds, which falls on 4 different types of ground. The hard ground by the wayside, preventing the seed from sprouting at all, and the seed becomes nothing more than bird food. The stony ground provides enough soil for the seeds to germinate and begin to grow. But because there is no deepness of earth, the plant does not take root and are soon withered in the sun. The thorny ground allows the seed to grow, but the competing thorns choke the life out of the beneficial plants. The good ground receives the seed and produces much fruit. And these are the 4 different responses that the Hamashiach gave us in the parable as it pertains to biblical truth and how we deal with our faith being tested. So the hard ground represents someone who is hardened by sin. He hears but does not understand the truth of the word, and Satan plucks the message away, keeping the heart dull and preventing the truth of the word from making an impression. The stony ground pictures a man who professes delight with the word. However, his heart is not changed, and when trouble arises, his so-called faith quickly disappears. The thorny ground depicts one who seems to receive the word, but whose heart is full of riches, pleasures, and lusts. The things of the world takes his time and attention away from the word, and he ends up having no time for it. The good ground portrays the one who hears, understands, and receives the truth of the word, and then allows it to accomplish its results in his life. The man represented by the good ground is the only one of the four who is truly saved, because salvation's proof is fruit. Let us read the parable of the sower directly from Matthew chapter 13, verses 1 through 23. The same day went Yeshua out of the house and sat by the seaside, and great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went up into a ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore, and spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stony places, where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. But others fell onto good ground, and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who had ears to hear, let him hear. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speak thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever had not, from him shall be taken away even that he had. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Esaias, which said, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. So you can see that Yeshua shares with us that the hard ground represents someone who is hardened by sin, and he hears but does not understand the truth of the word. As Satan plucks away the message from them, keeping their hearts dull, and preventing the message of the truth from making an impression on their lives. And the stony ground pictures a man who professes delight with the word, however his heart is not changed, and when trouble arises, his so-called faith quickly disappears. The thorny ground depicts one who seems to receive the word, but whose heart is full of riches, pleasures, and lusts. The things of the world take his time and attention away from the word, and he ends up having no time for it. But hopefully we fall under the good ground depiction, where Yahushua says, the good ground portrays the one who hears, understands, and receives the truth of the word, and then allows it to accomplish its results in one's life. It is the one of the four in which you are truly saved, because your salvation's proof is in its fruits. So then what's the benefits of going through all these tests, these trials and tribulations? Well, I don't know if you know this, but tests of your faith are opportunities for many reasons. Let's take a look at some. Trying times builds character. The Apostle Paul informs us there's more to come. We continue to shout our praise even when we're hemmed in with troubles, because we know how troubles can develop passionate patience in us, and how that patience in turn forges the tempered steel of virtue, keeping us alert for whatever Elohim will do next. When Elohim allows temptation and the testing of faith to occur to his children, he makes them better people. We become durable and valuable when tested. And Peter writes, pure gold put in fire comes out of it proved pure, and genuine faith put through this suffering comes out proved genuine. We must trust in Elohim, because as we are refined by trials and tests, it proves us to be trusting, genuine, and loving servants to the Most High Yah. Trials also build spiritual strength. Those who live a life free of challenges and problems won't grow spiritually. By facing and overcoming challenges, you build your spiritual strength and endurance. We also gain greater self-awareness. We learn about our flaws and weaknesses through trials. According to the Bible, we all have weaknesses and shortcomings, but hardships, problems, and temptations can expose them. When things are going well, it's hard to see difficulties, trials, and temptations that can reveal these strengths and weaknesses. We also must understand that being tested builds faith. The Bible encourages us to prove our faith by being sincere and conducting ourselves properly. Staying with it, that's what Yah requires, staying the course. You won't be sorry, but you will be saved. What counts is that you put up with all the tests, trials, and tribulations for Yah's sake when you're treated badly for no good reason. There's no particular virtue in accepting punishment that you well deserve. A good man will own up to something that he's done wrong and say, well, I deserve this punishment because I did do something wrong. But if you're treated badly for doing good and continue in spite of it to be a good servant, that is what counts with Yahuwah. Throughout history, people have been tested in their faith, from Abraham being asked to sacrifice his son to Job losing everything he had. There are many examples of individuals facing trials that shook their faith to the core. Even Yeshua himself was tested in the wilderness, facing temptation from the devil. While it can be challenging to navigate a season of testing, it is important to remember that it can ultimately strengthen our faith. In these moments, we must lean on Yahuwah and allow him to guide us and strengthen us. The testing of our faith produces endurance, and endurance produces character, which in return produces hope. It is a very necessary part of our spiritual growth and development, and requires us to be humble, obedient, and to fully surrender to the will of Yahuwah. This concludes my message for today. May Yahuwah bless you and keep you all safe in this dark hour. And until my next video, Shalom.